There are going to be a number of witnesses that ultimately testify at this hearing in support of Young Thug's request for bond. And so we'll get to the first one. His name is Jamil Mitchell. So we'll hear from him as he talks about his relationship with Young Thug.
Tell this honorable court the types of works that you do.
I actually own a non-profit organization where we have football players and cheerleaders. So we trying to push kids into sports, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get them to do something positive instead of just being around, just running around, doing nothing.
And shout out to all the individuals who do this kind of stuff. I've got a lot of friends who have been coaches and currently are coaches of basketball, football. These are the types of things, type of activities that keep kids off the streets, keep kids from falling into gang life. And basically when you have a bunch of free time, you have nothing to do, that's when it's easy to fall into criminal activity. And so these organizations are very important. You're ultimately going to hear that Young Thug over the years has supported this and many other organizations. So again, when we're trying to, as the defense, demonstrate our client is not a danger to the community. Actually, on the contrary, he's actually contributing positively to the development of the community. That's where they're going with this testimony.
Do you know the gentleman who is on the honorable court's Zoom screen, Mr. Jeffery Williams?
Yeah, I've been knowing Mr. Williams since he was 13, 14.
All right, so that's going to be further credibility. I've known this young man since he was 13 years old. And so that's going to be really powerful. Just compared to, I just met him 6 months ago, or we've known each other for a year. He's known him since he was basically in junior high school. So that's kind of going to go a long way to establish the positive side of Mr. Williams.
Tell us, honorable court, the ties that Mr. Williams has to this community and what he does to support the community that you are in.
He actually supports my football team and cheerleading team a lot. He sponsored my football team with uniforms, banquets, buy trophies. When we do barbecues for the kids, that he helps with that. He pays to cook. We did a Juneteenth event once.
So you can see, there's a lot of people with really good intentions out there, but a lot of times these things don't move forward without money. So he's saying, hey, Mr. Williams has donated uniforms. He's paid for banquets. He paid for barbecues. He's helped out financially in order to help us do what we need to do for the betterment of our community. So this is really good information in support of Mr. Williams.
He helped do a lot for the community, really, when it comes to the kids and everything. He's trying to push positivity with the kids.
When you have a police report that basically makes your client look like a monster, this type of testimony, and again, we know that the judge ultimately denies bond, but this type of testimony is very helpful in being able to show that your client is much more than the allegations in an indictment. He's much more than the one-sided representation that's put in a police report. So again, this information goes a long way to counterbalance the negative information in an indictment or a complaint or a police report.
Williams, speak with the next generation of children to do positive things with their life.
Yes, sir. I have him plenty of times where we FaceTime each other. He moves around a lot. He's an international star, so he FaceTime. I put the kid on FaceTime with him. They'd be excited. They shocked. They'd be like, oh, you really know him? I'm like, yeah.
So how cool is that? So he's saying, hey, sometimes Young Thug will FaceTime me and I'll be on the phone with him. I'll be with the kids. I'll be with the athletes or the cheerleaders. And that's kind of cool that coach knows Young Thug. Like, what? You really know him? And then Young Thug's giving them positive messages. Stay in school, keep your grades up, continue to give all your efforts on the field, doing all these things which are positive contributions, again, to the community.
He'll come to the banquet if he get a chance. He'll come to a game.
And does he also come to the area in Cleveland Avenue?
Yeah, he came there, passed out shoes a couple times, do community barbecues, feed the homeless. One year he came, gave out 90 pair of shoes.
Again, these are special things. I mean, having done some of this type of philanthropic work, it just is really meaningful. And there's going to be a lot of people who feel very offended almost by these allegations against somebody who has shown so much love to their community. If you can't afford a pair of shoes and you have this rap star coming, because you say, hey, he came through to Cleveland Avenue, dropping off 90 pairs of shoes. He's dropping off food. He's dropping off supplies. If you're in that dark spot and someone comes down, he's a worldwide international superstar, and yet he's coming through to drop off shoes. He's donating clothes, donating uniforms, money. They're gonna look at this individual almost like a god.
To the homeless and to the kids out there, like he do stuff for the community a lot.
How old are the children in the football program?
My crew go from 5 to 13. The 13 is the cheerleaders, but from football it's 5 to 12.
And are there girls playing or a girl playing football as well?
I had a girl last year, yeah. I had a girl play football last year.
And
That's
what's
a nice
the name
touch.
of the organization?
Cleveland Avenue 49th Youth Development Organization.
Does Mr. Williams support that organization through the children as well as breast cancer?
I told him my grandmother passed away from breast cancer right when COVID hit, and he sponsored my football team with breast cancer uniforms, and on the uniform you'll see his record label logo, because whoever sponsored, we put the logo on there to try to show support.
I thought that was a nice touch. You never know what it's going to be that might just touch the heart of a prosecutor or a judge or someone who's in the position to make a decision on your client's case. Years ago, I was representing an individual in deportation proceedings, and he had a criminal element to his case. I want to say that he had been charged with possession for sale of some sort of controlled substance. He was trying to get his citizenship. And so we were trying to get the government to exercise positive discretion and terminate his deportation proceedings so he could apply for citizenship. So he was working in the medical field. And basically we were telling his story in the same way that you hear the witness here telling his story and telling how he's interacted with Mr. Williams over the years and giving information regarding his positive character. We were able to put why he went into the medical field, why he was so passionate about healing, why he was so passionate about helping others and guiding them through their ailments and everything. The prosecutor that was reviewing this case, they had a loved one who passed away from cancer, and they remembered how much it meant to them that there was a particular nurse who really cared for their loved one and made their transition as comfortable as possible given the circumstances. So it really hit home for that prosecutor that our client was also in the medical field and displayed so much passion in terms of why they did what they did. And so ultimately we were able to convince them to terminate the deportation proceedings so he could become a citizen. So you never know what's going to stick, but the more details, especially if they're really positive, the better. And so that's what they're ultimately getting at in this testimony. So now we've established, I've known Young Thug since he was 13 years old. He's been a positive figure in the community. He's donated. He's really helped out. You can tell there's a lot of love and respect for Young Thug.